people who are trading within the town. Now, let's listen at the city clerk and the deputy resident commissioner. Now, Tracy, apologies for that technical glitch, but what we have had is that beginning Monday, according to the town clerk, the crackdown will be enforced. So they have been given 4 days, 5 days ultimatum beginning yesterday. That means that by today they are left with only 4 days to ensure that they vacate the streets. And the town clerk says beginning Monday they will be enforcing, and those that will insist on remaining on the street will be arrested and their items will be confiscated. Now, this is expected also to address a security concern, like I said earlier, where some of the wrongdoers that are hiding among the vendors to wreak havoc on their communities and people who are passing through town, and especially those who are doing business. This enforcement will also entail the traffic enforcement, where we are going to see an order on the way vehicles are parked within the town. When you come to town, Tracy and viewers, you'll find that some of the streets have been dominated by trucks. They have been dominated by breakdown trucks, which are now using them as their parking lots instead of allowing the streets to be able to accommodate people who are coming to do business within the town. Now, according to the city clerk, these are going to be enforced beginning Monday, and we hope to see a more orderly town moving forward. Similar operations have been done previously, but they have not been consistent, and they have only been done intermittently, leading to continuous return of these vendors. Now, the authorities say that this time round they are going to sustain the operation and ensure that the street vendors go to the markets where they say there is enough space for them to ensure that the street is clean and there's order and fair trade and safety within the city. Over to you at the political command center. Please.
Thank you so much, Gerard Matembu. That is indeed a look. I have a feeling many will be following suit.
Yeah, many other cities, yeah, they want to clean up, but it's better late than, not even better late. It's better for us to start clearing now, have a streamlined way of operations in the city, than wait later on when the cities are filled out, and then we start thinking about having to revive. And then you're making people lose their livelihoods. Why didn't you plan earlier? That is the conversation we would be asking. Yes. We don't want to get into the mess that Kampala has had. But anyway, as we continue to have a conversation, myself here, Tracy and myself, let's also get to join that trio. That, I hope they don't hear me, that mad trio. From Next Radio, of course, that's Victoria Subia Makagaba and Roddy McVex. Yesterday, I was wondering what was in their cups of tea anyway. I think the only sober people on the show were me and Tracy.
That's as it may. You know, because we're going to talk about this mortgage conversation. I just want to find out what's the craziest thing you've had to tell a landlord. I hope the landlords are not on air. Are they listening? Okay.
That is an interesting one, by the way. Yeah.
For us,
you know that line you had to put just to make sure that your landlord pressure came there.
Yes. Also, do you eat your KFC when the landlord is over there?
KFC you can eat. But there is a boiling chicken outside. Ngatona sasula red. Okay. Here is the mad trio. You didn't hear the other word. Hello, Victoria. Hello, Mark. Hello, Ronnie.
No, we are not happy. We are not happy. We are. You can't start me. You are painting a bad picture. That for us, we drink certain things in the morning. Yeah. Guys, we do our job. We do our job. That's the thing.
Look at that passion.
First, our future is too bright. That's why Mark is dimming.
The passion, though.
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
What?
Yeah, we can now hear you.
Wonderful. Okay,
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
We're fine.
We're great gentlemen and ladies.
They've paid salaries. We were just checking in because our conversation today will definitely be talking about mortgage. Do you eat your KFC landlord?
They have really, because we're not the kind really that looks up to salary. I mean, it's all about the love of what we do.
I don't know, for us here, we are volunteers.
Ronnie.
It's okay. I was a landlord. It's fine.
Guys, we are discussing about what landlord. You just mentioned a point of what is the craziest thing that has happened between you and your landlord. I hope.
You've thrown us in deep waters.
It's not deep water. Yeah.
Me, I don't have. You have a landlord?
Mark. My landlord.
Because I don't remember. Me, I built. So
no, wow. No, I have.
Okay, before you built, Mark. That's the period we are talking about. Before you built.
Oh, okay. So unfortunately, we are people who believe that the past has gone, the new has come.
Different tax brackets. Hey, Jesus.
It is well. It is well.
Secondly, I know we have all gone through a point where our parents were our landlords. And most importantly, that season after graduation and you're home, you don't have a job. But your father and mother are showing you signs that you actually have to go out of this house. But the signs are indirect. Every time you sit on the dining table, they start conversations like, the food prices have gone high.
Also, don't you have friends? We never see you, you're always here.
I can't relate.
Yeah? What do you mean?
No, but you guys know, once I got to university, I had a whole apartment.
I also want to emphasize that people that have left university, please don't rush to go to rent.
True.
First stay home, meditate, envision what you want to achieve. Then step out with a plan.
But because what are you eating at that time?
At home, you see, mommy is willing to take care of you.
Mommy is willing.
Guys, especially the ladies, you will go out there, want to rent a house. Things might go bad. We're not saying necessarily it's going to happen, but when things go bad, I think it's better for you to stay home and wash the plates than you being out of home and you're washing his trousers on a weekend.
Or you can just leave university and start a business.
But how do you?
Let's be serious.
But who gives you the money to start a business? You're just from university.
We have entrepreneurs. We have people who are choosing to invest in young people. Like Mildred. These people are doing well.
You see there, Mildred is into farming. By the way, if Mildred, I don't know whether there is anything that Mildred has not done. Oyo Mildred no oyagala emotoka kati aina plug.
If
you want land now.
For anything that can get you money. Tuli no chikola.
Mpe number ya Museveni.
This week on Meet the Boss on the Morning Switch, from reforming taxes to transforming roads and now shaping Uganda's future workforce, Alan Kajina is back in the driver's seat. This week on the Morning Switch, Meet the Boss with the former Uganda National Roads Authority Executive Director, a leader known for efficiency, integrity and results. Now at the Tibet Council, she's turning her focus from infrastructure to people, building skills for the next generation. But behind the titles is a woman of grit, faith, and quiet power. How did she rise through Uganda's toughest institutions? What drives her leadership? And why does discipline still matter more than ever? Real lessons, real leadership, real inspiration. Meet the Boss, Alan Kajina, only on The Morning Switch.
Welcome to World Navi Uganda, your trusted getaway to Japanese cars. We deliver direct from Japan, cutting out middlemen to give you the best prices. Choose from thousands of inspected vehicles, sedans, SUVs, vans, trucks, even hybrids and so much more, all with verified mileage and guaranteed quality. Enjoy transparent pricing, fast shipping and after-sales support right here in Kampala. Visit us at Forest Mall Lugogo or explore online. Call 256-704-105-159 today. World Navi Uganda, driving excellence from Japan to your driveway.
It's back, bigger, and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
We understand that everyone yearns for a clean, tidy, and convenient working environment. That's why 7-Star Cleaning Services, we strive to provide highly customizable cleaning solutions using environmentally friendly chemicals, state-of-the-art equipment, and well-trained workforce for our clients. Visit our head office, Plot 4691, Ntinda Chisasi Road. Contact us on our official lines 0393 243 503 or visit our social media platforms. 7-Star Cleaning Services, a remarkable difference. Better study tips. Protect your digital money from phishing scams. Be cautious of suspicious emails or texts asking you to click on links. Instead, visit the official website directly to ensure you're accessing a secure platform. In partnership with Uganda Communications Commission and NBS. Did you know? Brought to you by
Fake spare parts can be deceiving. They seem cheaper, they seem good enough, they get you moving for now. But what you don't see is the hidden cost. Damage to your car, endless repairs, wasted time off the road, and potential risk to lives. In the long run, fake parts cost you more. Choose genuine parts from any CFA or mobility location countrywide.
Did you know? Brought to you by Breaking Now. Now Post delivers Uganda's fastest, accurate news as it happens. From hard-hitting headlines to exclusive interviews, we bring details of stories everyone is talking about. Accurate, fast, and balanced. Get every update at nowpost.co.ug. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and never miss a moment. The Now Post. Accurate news, fast.
When the news moves, you move with it on AfroMobile. Get real-time updates and the moment they unfold. Choose from over 80 live TV and radio channels and follow current affairs your way on the platforms you rely on the road, in the office, in the middle of your work, or out and about. AfroMobile keeps the story going with you. Download AfroMobile today and stay connected to every update as it happens.
Nextcom, your effective communications partner. Nextcom is Uganda's leading agency, driving growth through strategic storytelling. We specialize in strategic communications, influencer marketing and campaigns, public relations and reputation management, brand and product optimization, digital strategy and marketing, community management, creative campaigns and event solutions, sustainability marketing, crisis communications. Partner with Nextcom to craft your story, engage your audience, and elevate your brand. Nextcom, let's grow, inspire, and succeed together.
The National Mosquito Net Distribution Campaign is back. No one should die of malaria in this era. It is your responsibility to chase malaria from your home. The good news is that the government of Uganda has once again started distribution of mosquito nets under the 5th Universal Coverage Campaign, also known as the Under the Net campaign. Under this exercise, 1 mosquito net will be distributed per 2 people in every household. A village health team member, a community health extension worker, also known as a CHU, and the LC1 chairperson will move house to house to register members of the household in preparation for receiving their mosquito nets. Do not lie back. Ensure that you register all your household members to receive a mosquito net. On the distribution date, move to your distribution point and receive your net. Mosquito nets protect you and your family members from infectious mosquito bites that lead to malaria. Ensure that you receive the net, hang the net, and sleep under the net every night.
Gen Z isn't just about vibes. We're about voices. Voices that question power. Voices that spark change. Voices that set the pace for Uganda's future. On Gen Z Agenda, we break down the politics. We confront the social issues. And we put leaders in the hot seat. This is more than a talk. This is your agenda. Tune in Thursdays 8 p.m. on NBS Plus and repeat Sunday 3 p.m. on NBS.
Breaking now. Now Post delivers Uganda's fastest, accurate news as it happens. From hard-hitting headlines to exclusive interviews, we bring details of stories everyone is talking about. Accurate, fast, and balanced. Get every update at nowpost.co.ug. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and never miss a moment. The Now Post. Accurate news, fast.
Episodes of this spellbinding saga to crown the new Premier League kings. Holland saved. Ahmadashvili's gone the right way. Big moment. That's astonishing.
Download AfroMobile today and enjoy your favorite game with NBS Sport and NBS Sport 2, where every second and win comes to life. AfroMobile, your sports, your way.
Nextcom, your effective communications partner. Nextcom is Uganda's leading agency, driving growth through strategic storytelling. We specialize in strategic communications, influencer marketing and campaigns, public relations and reputation management, brand and product optimization, digital strategy and marketing, community management, creative campaigns and event solutions, sustainability marketing, crisis communications. Partner with Nextcom to craft your story, engage your audience, and elevate your brand. Nextcom, let's grow, inspire, and succeed together.
omwezi ogwokubiri mu paka eza Premier League ku NBS Sport tukumalako mu style nga tulekedde Merseyside ngamba Newcastle ku St James Park ne batuuka ne Everton sawa ya kwesasuza nga Everton onya point 3 wabula Newcastle erayiramu kuba double oluvannyuma lw'omwegga omupiira ogusooka kinaba kya David Moyes oba Eddie Howe katwegette ku Kulwomukaaga olusawa 12 mu ndirimbo va mwange nga Newcastle baaniriza Everton mu mbiranye va mwange kinaggwerawa byonna ku NBS Sport ku Kulwomukaaga luno.
Introducing Kajansi Progressive Secondary School. The home away from home. It's a mixed boarding secondary school with O and L levels. Arts and sciences, library and laboratories are all fully stocked. Computer, music, dance and drama, sports. Our teachers are well trained and strictly following the new curriculum. Kajansi Progressive Secondary School is located in Reza Kajansi, Kampala Entebbe Highway. And for more information, Call 0779 32 36 73 or 0706 16 11 16. It's
Kajansi Progressive Secondary School. Never give up.
Welcome to Hotel J. Fry, the ultimate destination for luxury and comfort. A delightful One Hotel J. Fright is a perfect blend of luxury, convenience, and exceptional service. So why settle for anything less when you can experience the best?
Welcome to the topical discussion on the Morning Breeze as we bring you the latest of what's happening in and around the country. But remember, on Thursday, our conversation rotates around issues of the economy. Now, President Yoweri Museveni did assent to a number of laws, 3 laws to be particular, and those are meant to be able to tighten the construction standards and also be able to boost boost housing in Uganda, or housing finance in Uganda. Remember, we have a 2.4 million housing deficit, which is expected to grow up to about 3 million in 2030 if nothing is definitely done. Now, we need housing units of about 210 each and every year. But of course, many at times we never get to meet that. We produce about 60,000 housing units each and every year. And the biggest issue or cause of this is the rapid urbanization and population growth. Unfortunately, 96% of Ugandans, that is what statistics show, cannot afford a mortgage. So, Mzimba Mpola Mpola, with your money, you build over 17 years. But today, we're here to talk about how the laws are going to enable Ugandans access affordable housing as well as mortgages. Now, the Mortgage Refinance Institutions Act, which is one of the acts that the government has, President Yoweri Museveni has assented to, is to empower the Bank of Uganda to regulate mortgage refinance institutions, create a formal legal framework to deepen the mortgage market, and also is expected to market long-term housing finance more accessible to the homeowners, improving the oversight and structure in the mortgages sector. That is one of those bills that the president assented to into an act. Let's look at the other one, the Valuation Act of 2025, which establishes the Institute of Certified Valuers, regulating property valuation standards and professional regulation, but also going ahead to improve transparency and credibility in property transactions supporting investment. The third act that was assented to by the president is the Building Control Amendment Act of 2025, which aims to introduce tougher penalties for the illegal construction and also failure to follow approved building standards. You know, we've had a lot of buildings collapsing and killing Ugandans. This law is going to be catching up on such people. It also enhances safety and accountability in urban construction, as well as strengthening enforcement to reduce unsafe structures. But our focus today is mainly going to be on the Mortgage Refinance Institutions Act 2025. Why? Because we really need to have Ugandans have decent housing and make it as affordable as possible. My panel is full, and I'll definitely be getting in to introduce to you who my guests are, because we want to get into this conversation as much as possible and make sure that Ugandans are well equipped, and we have the housing units that we do require, the 210,000 units that are expected at least each and every year. And of course, starting off, I do have John B. Kawesi, who is the head of mortgages and consumer banking at the Housing Finance Bank. We need to talk about how Housing Finance Bank is also enabling Ugandans, us, get the mortgages. Say hello, John, to our viewers.
Good morning to you, our viewers. Happy to be here.
A pleasure having you, John. We also do have a Wilberforce Nsamba, who is a certified international property specialist. And we'll also be looking at what the other countries are doing vis-a-vis what Uganda needs to be doing. Wilberforce, good morning and say hello to our viewers.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. It's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure having you. And last but in no means the least, I do have Harold Turige, who is a commercial lawyer. So for those of you who have properties and you're thinking about lots of dealings with your mortgages, if they've gone wrong, for example, Harold will be here to let us know whether the law is actually going to help or it's just another black and white. We do have Harold. Good morning and say hello to our viewers.
Good morning, Mildred. Good morning to our viewers. It's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure having you. Wilberforce, I'll start off with you on this particular one. What do these laws mean? If you could just sum them up, but also particularly paying attention to the mortgage refinance bill.
Thank you very much, Mildred. As the real estate practitioners, we are happy to have all these laws come in at the same time.
Okay.
To say that we are regulating financing and making it affordable, and then strengthening the quality of properties that will go on the market, but also the third law that looks at regulating valuation, making sure that we have authentic values and transactions in Uganda. Today, our focus is on the Mortgage Refinance Act, and we are happy that it's here because we've been for a long time talking about affordability of real estate. The major bottleneck for real estate acquisition today is the lack of access to affordable and long-term financing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to see that this law is here, and we hope that the mortgage refinance institutions and companies that are going to come on board will be able to give us long-term mortgages, patient capital for the developers, but also sustainable way of meeting our mortgages to be able to acquire real estate.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Wilberforce. But Harold, let me come to you on the reason as to why Uganda actually needed such a mortgage refinancing law. Where have we been? How is this law going to shift or change the status quo?
For starters, I don't think this law is a golden bullet to the issue of the housing deficit that we have in the country.
You're dampening the mood of excitement.
I think we should start from the grand effect of it.
Yes.
It's a very good law. And for starters, we didn't have a law that was providing for mortgage refinancing and for even pre-financing at that. So the law comes in to cover a gap that was there. That is a plus. But where I started from is to say that it's not going to answer all the problems and what we've been facing as far as the housing deficit is concerned and also the issues that we've been having. But the perfect thing is that, as my brother here has said, that one of the major issues why we have had a dull mortgage market was because of the setup of the mortgage market itself. To say that if you have a financial institution that is just depending on deposit taking, you cannot trust the patterns of Ugandans who are saving with you to get off their money in 2 years, and then you give Harold a mortgage for 11 years, because it does not work like that. So you need an external force in terms of a refinancer or a pre-financer to flow. But they could not enter the market because there was no legal regime to govern the transactions. So that law coming in to say that the Bank of Uganda will come in to license them, to set the minimum capital, it's now I think 35 billion in the act, and shape up the market. It's a very big plus to the market, and it will be a great addition towards solving the problem, of course, in light of the other factors that affect the mortgage market.
I love that you give the bittersweet test to it, the why it's not a golden bullet, but also how it is revolutionizing the market. I know Housing Finance Bank has been providing some of these mortgages. John, I come to you on how is this law going to change the way you do business? Because I know that many of Ugandans cannot afford the mortgages. The long-term capital that Barija was talking about are not very much available because we save, in most cases, to be able to utilize it in the shortest way possible. Let me keep my money in the bank. I'll get it after 6 months. I'll get it after 1 year or so.
This is a very big opportunity for Uganda. In fact, I'll start with Vision 2040. Where the government is very intentional on having a tenfold growth strategy. And starting with the real estate sector, the contribution is still very low at about 5%. Now, these regulations come in handy to impact the different areas within the real estate sector. I'll start with the banking industry. First of all, we know there's been a challenge in the market for years, the mismatch between short-term and long-term lending. Mortgages are usually long-term. Now, when you look at the deposits we mobilize from customers, it's usually short-term. So when the customer is interested in taking on a mortgage for 20 years, for 25 years, we know the rates are high. It's double-digit, and it's largely driven by the cost of funds in the market. The cost of funds is still high. So the mortgage refinance institutions are going to come in with more affordable funds, and it's going to be regulated by Bank of Uganda, meaning that mortgages are not going to be only for the high-income earners, the urban dwellers. It's going to cut across, and it's going to spark growth and development across the country. So even our brothers and sisters far from where we are sitting today, they'll be able to access these products from the financial institutions at much lower rates, because banks are going to be able to access long-term funding from these institutions that are regulated by Bank of Uganda, and the end user or the borrower will access these loans at much lower rates. So everyone is going to be included within the mortgage financing business.
Okay, let me get back to Wilberforce. Do you see this law regulating the actual problems, or is it just dealing with the financing system or the financing idea to it?
Thank you, Mary. This law is dealing with one of the biggest challenges of real estate. The biggest bottlenecks to affordable or cost-friendly real estate development is one of the biggest is access to finance. And this law is helping to bridge the gap between access to development capital by the investors, but also access to a normal Ugandan to acquire money to finance their real estate. So I would say this law is meeting the biggest need that has been a bottleneck to the real estate development. Because when you look at the real estate development cycle, from the planning to actually putting a product on the market, it is all financing end to end. And you see that now you've been needing a huge deposit on the, I'll start with the side of the consumer of real estate, the buyer. You've been having to deposit a huge amount of money to start up your loan, maybe 30%. To start up your mortgage. If we get such a law and we have access to cheaper capital, meaning we will have a smaller deposit required upfront before taking up the mortgage. We will have a longer repayment period, but also we'll have a grace period now when it comes to the investors. What has been happening is that even if you took a mortgage today, you will start to repay back the loan immediately. Yet the project will take about 2 to 3 years to construct.
You're right.
But now with the refinancing institutions coming on board, we'll see that we'll have a grace period to when we start paying actually for the mortgage that we took. So I think this law is addressing the main bottleneck of real estate development, which has been finance. It is not the only one, but I think it has been the biggest bottleneck, both on the developer side and on the consumer side. Okay. And I think we now have a gateway.
And Barita, while we're talking about gateways, there is always the legal catches that probably people do not pay attention to, and we get excited about the bigger problem. Like Wilberforce has said, yes, it is about money, but is it just that at the end of the day? What if there is failure on one end of the bargain and the law catches up with you? As we get excited, as we drive into it, what are the key concerns we need to pay attention to on the legal side?
Thank you, Mildred. The mortgage market is influenced by 3 things: the commerce, the law, and the market. The commerce on the side of what they have been talking about, to say, if I'm a bank, what do I need to pull off this mortgage arrangement with my end user, and also to deal with maybe a refinance. The law, in terms of what is the regulation, in terms of the obligations of the 3 parties, the refinance, the lender now, which is the bank or the SACCO, whichever can get a refinance, and then also in terms of the end user, the borrower. And then the market, how is the market ready to take on these projects and these products that the banks are designing? Weber has mentioned something very important about how the market, the bigger bottleneck was financing, but it's not the only one. We have, while we are talking about a deficit of 2.4 million housing units, the major problem being, he talked about the financing, but there's a high interest, there's a land issue, there's the lack of the grace periods, the illiteracy, it's too much. But what this law comes in to do is to say that if a refinancer wants to enter the market, who is governing them? Bank of Uganda says we are here, and these are the requirements. You are supposed to have a minimum capital requirement of this much. We've talked about that. 2, we have requirements for a license. What are you supposed to be doing? And then the requirements of making sure how you use the money that you've already put in this market. They for example, forbid, one of the clauses forbids a refinancer from directly lending, bypassing the banks, to directly finance an end consumer, because they also want to protect the housing finance bank and the other institutions in the market from, because a mortgage market in a first world is one of the major players. You cannot play around with it. So if you do not have a regulator that is able to try to stop people who want to play around, or people who are entering the market for financial gain instead of stabilizing the market, that's where the danger is. So this law comes in to regulate the refinancers who want to enter the market, and the banks who want to get these to these institutions to benefit from these products. And then the beneficiary, the biggest beneficiary, actually who has no obligations in this act, is the end user, because it is regulated by other acts, the Contracts Act, the Mortgage Act, it's a lot, but specifically this act comes in to just govern the relationship between the refinancing institutions, the MRIs, and then the financial institutions. Okay. And it covers all the gaps that could be there for licensing, for doing business, and for fines as punishment, including withdrawal of licenses if you mess up, including fines up to a lot of money that if someone faults the rules under the act, can fall to.
This is where I would go to John. It's like opening up the market entirely, and you've sort of been a monopoly, for lack of a better word, as Housing Finance Bank, for the good reasons when it comes to mortgages. Does this make our mortgages more affordable? How are you opening up to the market? How are you benefiting from the law, basically, in the perspective of a government bank that is providing mortgages?
Much. First of all, I wanted to clarify, we are not monopolies, but we are the market leaders as per the customer's voice.
I love the choice of language, but it's okay.
Yes. Yeah. So clearly, this comes in handy. Funding is a major contributor, just like Harold said. If you take care of the financing, you take care of the regulations, you take care of the professionalism. There are several things in this value chain. But this is going to be a major milestone for us and other financial institutions, because access to affordable funds will be here. Most of the financial institutions have been trying to get funding from international lenders, but here the funds are going to be within the same ecosystem within the country, and the regulator, we have the same regulator. So access is going to be easier for the financial institutions, and we have to work together as different players using such platforms to sensitize the customers that, look here, you can actually undertake the borrowing so that you can own a home at the end of the day. It's going to make mortgages more affordable to the end user, but it's also going to create a spark within the value chain. I'll give an example of the public-private partnerships. Today, we have so many developers. So what's happening? They'll go and put up a, say, $10 million project, and they have to act as the developer at the same time, the sales agent, so they develop and look for the buyers at the end of the day. So if access to housing is being made easier because of the pricing, I believe we are going to see more synergies. In some economies, there are players that will come and take up your project. For example, if Wilberforce is having a project, there may be a player in the middle who will say, I'm going to buy this project at this price, and then I'll ensure that there may be a player in the middle who will say, I'm going to buy this project at this price, and then I'll ensure that
up in student housing in this country. Now, that's the first opportunity where developers can tap into this long-term and affordable financing to develop student accommodation. that can be taken on because a student is there for 3 years and then they'll leave, okay? But all that time, they are paying for hostel fees. So that's an opportunity there for developers that you can expound on. Now, after they finish school, they'll need that studio or one-bedroom apartment as they figure out life. Now, if we start the mortgaging discussion from when we are still at school until all the way, you will work for about 20 years in active labor, 20, 30, 40 years. In countries like Japan, mortgages are paid until people are 73 years old. Now, it's going to take all of us to think together, change the mindset, but also bring mortgages through the commercial banks that will sign up down to the person and say, how can we bring mortgages from when a person is starting work throughout their 20, 30, 40 years of active employment, they are on something that is benefiting to them. Even if you saved 600,000 on your mortgage in 25 years, how much money would that be? It will be able to afford you a 1 or 2 bedroom home for yourself. Meaning, throughout your entire active life, you're paying towards something that will help you acquire this real estate as you're able to continue doing your life.
Wilberforce, at the risk of interrupting you, I hear you. You're looking at the Mildred who is out of school, they start working, formal employment.
Yes.
There is a Mildred who is in the informal sector.
Yes.
A bigger chunk of Ugandans in the informal sector. But also for the Mildred who is in formal employment, job security remains a very, very big issue. Companies closing down or just laying off workers. How does this mix get attended to?
Yeah, exactly. That's where commercial banks need to come up with different products for different segments of the market. The informal sector that is not in active employment, I like this law. And when you look at countries like Kenya, their mortgage refinance institutions are majorly owned by government, commercial banks, and SACCOs and investment clubs. And this is now where we are coming to pull money together to be able to own real estate. Now, as Ugandans, we can regroup and arrange ourselves in SACCOs and investment clubs and be able to tap into real estate that we wouldn't do on our own. So people who are in the informal sector, number one, we have to keep our records right if we are to be bankable and benefit from such avenues that have come. Do you have records for the business that you run? Do you have any other sources of income? We should be honest, we should be of integrity, and we should be able to keep records because at the end of the day, the banks are trying to de-risk their money as they lend it out. And fair enough, even if it was your money, you'd want to lend it to the safest way possible, all right? So as Ugandans who are in the informal sector, there are things that we'll need to do if we are to rally the commercial banks to form up products for us. Let's be organized, let's keep records, let's be people of integrity, and let's have accountability and books of accounts kept right so that when the banks form up products for the informal sector, they find us ready, prepared, and astute with our records to show them that I have a sustainable source of income. Because we have pensioners who will benefit from this, but they are no longer salaried, but at least they can show where their monthly income installment will be able to come from. Same way with the informal sector. You just need to prove to the commercial bank that you have capacity and sustainability. 2 years records of how your business has been performing and how your credit record. How good have you been with even the simple loans we take on our mobile phones? I like the credit reference bureau that now you can even track how someone has been using the more cash or whatever thing that is there. So as Ugandans in the informal sector, these things are here to benefit us. This model will help us. We just need to be organized and keep our records right and show proof that we are running a sustainable entity that is bankable. We shall be able to benefit. So for me, I think the law is benefiting both the developers and the Ugandan down there who is looking at owning real estate long term.
And I think, Wilberforce, picking up from you until the Ugandans, this is the time where you're not going to be hiding. You have to be truthful. But records. We've been talking about this a lot more when it comes to accessing just loans from the banks. It is now coming up if you are going to want to afford a house. But Harold, let me come to you on the impact of many of these laws on rent and urban living. Because many of Ugandans waste a lot of time, having to drive from wherever to get to town. That is a lot of time wasted. But also the rent pressures in the arcades, in the shopping malls for Ugandans who are working. Will these laws be able to bring down the rates in a way or two?
Unfortunately not. For starters, I think the president has previously unfairly castrated housing finance for not solving a housing problem, which is an unfair. Yes, because they are the problem, but they are not. Let me give you an example. Uganda has one of the highly inflated real estate market in the world that does not reflect the other sectors of the market. There's no reason a 50 by 100 plot in Chanja should be 300 million. There's no reason 100 by 100 in Kololo should be $2 million. When that's why some of the Ugandans, and Wilberforce will tell you, some of the Ugandans are buying condominium apartments in Dubai more than they are buying in Kampala, because a condominium apartment in maybe Kololo, buying 2-bedroom, buying 300 million, to a Ugandan, where I think Minister Lugorobi last week said that 51%, these are certified statistics, 51% of the youth within Kampala are neither in employment nor in education, in a national address. So if that's your target market for these things, and you're talking about rent, we have a very good tenancy and landlord tenancy act, but does it solve the problem? If you're talking about people congesting here around, you will find that you will get your solution from, for example, a functional train system than a law regulating rent. I'm using that as an example because if you have a train system that spends 30 minutes from Mpiji to Kampala, there's no reason I should be staying in Chiwatule. There's no reason you should be staying in Muyenga. You can just move. But even if a law is put in place, we have an issue. For example, we don't have a minimum wage. The same way we do not have a maximum or caps within the rentals, how much a landlord can pay. So someone will set an arcade in town and dictate the rent. And by the way, Ugandans will book that before finishing, like off plan.
Yeah.
They will buy it because they are desperate and the law cannot come to cover them. It's because of the influence of the market. We have another issue for the influence of political money within our economy. That if someone goes and gets money in a political way and puts up an arcade in Chanja, and the neighbor hears that they are selling at 300 million, even the neighbor who knew that the market forces were selling at 75 will say, my neighbors are selling at 300 and will hike it. So the law is one thing, but the other influences of the market will dictate the inflation, the illiteracy. We have a land issue in Uganda. Uganda has one of the most convoluted land tenure systems in the world, with the Milo, with the freehold, with the leasehold. So the playing around with all that, it can't just be taken away by the law. It just needs an introspect in other sector players, as he has said. Even the designing of the product, I would give this as the last example. There's no reason an economy that is largely agricultural should dictate bank products that require monthly payments. A maize farmer in Chivoga has maybe 2 or 3 seasons. If he takes a loan and you want him to pay monthly, he will not, because he will harvest maybe in April, in July, and in November. How about design a product that fits that cluster of clients to say that we will be getting that from when you harvest and you get the money? Why are you sticking them to the monthly? You talked about job security. Yeah. We talked about a minimum wage. There's a lot that plays into the Mortgage Act and the market that the law alone cannot solve.
Well, very interesting, the connotations that do come through. And I love when we talk about political money. Today, someone will be selling their 50 by 100 at 25 million. The one with political money comes and says, I'm giving you 40 for each plot. And they will be able to get it, and the entire market will be destabilized. But gentlemen, allow us to take a very short commercial break, because on the other twist is also the conversations around Islamic mortgaging. We have yet failed, especially with many commercial banks, even on just Islamic loans, because of, the differences in the way the Islamic loans do work. But let's get that conversation and many more shortly when we do return from this commercial break.
Some snacks for you, your man, papa, your granny and your picnic. Well, if I can, the snacks for you. Come pick anything you want. Some snacks for your tummy. Yummy, yummy.
Sam's, delivering memorable moments in every household.
Hey, travelers! Are you a family gearing up for that big vacation, a hustler working abroad coming home, or your squad chasing sunsets and passport stamps? It's time you lock in. Say goodbye to long airport queues, shocking roaming bills, and the stress of hunting for local SIM cards, because now you can travel like a local. Stay connected in over 180 countries. Just scan, tap, and boom! Instant data the moment you reach your destination. Get your Rogue Travel eSIM today at travel.roguetelcom.co.ug. Contact us on 020-5000123.
For years, they have studied, they have trained, they have persevered. Now, the moment of honor has come. Finns Medical University is proud to announce its 5th graduation ceremony. We cordially invite our graduating class of 2025, their esteemed parents and guardians, and the general public to join us in this celebration of academic excellence and professional dedication. The chief guest will be the Right Honourable Anita Among, the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda. The university will also celebrate its charter. The ceremony will be held on Friday, the 27th February 2026, at the Finns Medical University campus in Fort Portal. Proceedings commence at 9 a.m. Finns Medical University, a chartered medical university in East Africa.
All right, so welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it NBS Television. It's a Thursday. Our conversations rotate around the economy, and today we're talking about many of the laws that the president did assent to that have now become acts, from bills to acts. And our major focus is on the Mortgage Refinance Act of 2025 and how it will make affordable mortgages and also have many Ugandans get to own houses or become homeowners, because the current deficit in housing units of about 2.4 million or thereabout, expected to grow to about 3 million by 2030, is very, very alarming. Of course, that is being pushed up by the population growth and urban, getting more urbanization, or rapid urbanization coming through. And of course, still here with me, I do have my guest, John Walugembe. I beg your pardon, John Kawesi, who is coming in from Housing Finance Bank. I do have Harold Turije, who is giving us the legal perspective. He's a commercial lawyer. And also right in the middle, I have Wilberforce Nsamba, who is a certified international property specialist. John, let's get to the actual issues, the real gist of these laws and what is happening. For example, I am looking at the Ugandan statistics demographically. More than 80% of Ugandans are below the age of 30. At that, probably, if someone is getting out of university at 23, it's 7 years. You're really trying to find your footing. Probably you haven't even found a job at that point in time. And yet we're talking about, oh, the law is going to come. We are going to have pre-financials and all of that. What is actually on ground, especially out of experience from Housing Finance Bank, on mortgages and home ownership, and why Ugandans are not taking this?
Thank you very much. In Uganda, we have many challenges, but I'll not spend a lot of time on the challenges. What you're saying is very factual. Someone will leave university or they'll stop studying, they start on their journey, working, you work for several years. By the time you start, you start hustling, and then at some point, you're able to, own a home. Yeah. Now, I don't have the mandate to speak on behalf of all the banks in the country, but I'll speak about Housing Finance Bank. We've utilized the research, we've utilized the insights from our industry within the country to come up with solutions we believe that should sort out a problem. Now, for a very long time, these mortgages were for individuals that blue-collared or that have very stable cash flows. We had to come up with solutions that address the needs of all the demographics.
Okay.
So, for example, why should someone leave university, rent for 7 years, and then they start thinking about owning a home?
Yeah.
They are already spending a lot of time on time and resources renting. The idea is, because there are different land systems in Uganda, you could be owning land, and it's not necessarily titled. In Uganda, it's about 20% of our land that is titled.
You're right.
So the bulk of the land is not titled. In some regions, you have customary land. There are different systems. So we had to look at our realities and come up with a solution. And we need to use as many platforms to sensitize our brothers and sisters. If you're leaving the university and you can have, for example, Chibanja. I have my Chibanja, I have my sales agreement. I may not be earning a lot of money to qualify for 100 million as a mortgage, but I can build incrementally. You know, in my first 1 year, probably I could take 20 million. I'm looking for a simple house, 2-bedroomed or even single-bedroomed. I have a Chibanja, and at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to say, I have a home over a period of, say, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It still makes a big difference. So we designed products such as Zimba and Pola, and it's also within the same framework. These regulations are coming in to ease some of the areas like financing, funding, making it more affordable. It's even becoming easier for the end user. I'll give an example. If someone is earning little money, I'm a border rider, or I'm in the informal sector, I work in a market, I'm a mama mboga, you know, I earn on a daily, I know how much money I earn, and I can only get 10 million from the bank for a period of time. So we encourage that customer to get started. If, for example, today, because of the current interest rates, they are paying 50% of their average turnover in a month, they're using it to finance this loan or a mortgage. Okay. Once this money comes in at lower rates, that means they are going to spend less money financing this loan. If you're spending, say, 50% of your average earnings in a month, probably you're going to spend less, maybe 40% or 35%, because of the discounted rates. So I believe it's going to release some cash flow back to the customer, and this is cutting across.
Okay.
So for the youth, for the people in the informal sector, it's cutting across. I believe we need to do a lot of sensitization at regional level with the different players in the value chain so that everyone can understand how this can benefit them. I'm also looking at developers. Developers here, they are also running with their costs, all sorts of costs, to put up these structures. And that's why there's a lot of concentration within the urban areas. If you go to a place like Koboko, I don't know if you're going to find developers there that are interested in putting up mass units, 1,000 units. But if the developers also know that I'm going to access capital at friendly terms because of the mortgage refinancing bill, then we are going to see more players coming in here and supporting the growth within the sector in the different areas, in the suburbs, even outside the city. When you look at the cities, when you look at the towns surrounding the cities, and I'm not referring to Kampala only, look at Soroti, look at Jinja, look at Mbale. I believe over time, once these players come in and we start testing and everyone starts believing what the impact looks like, it's going to impact other players.
Okay.
The developers, the end users, even in the informal sector. I believe there's a lot of sensitization that we need to make. But there are many other factors, like Harold mentioned, that we shall need to sort out as a country to have a holistic picture painted.
And we'll be getting to that. While you were speaking, I was very excited about the positivity. And I think most Ugandans need to borrow your energy of positivity when we're talking about the challenges vis-a-vis how we can solve them. But Wilberforce, let's come back to the actual challenges, because it's from that diagnosis that you get to understand this is the kind of medication I require. Let's look at issues of return versus purchase. You're already buying 100 by 100 at, I don't know, $1 million, $5 million. Then you're going to start building. The cost of the materials is also way up. And then you're done building. You have to transfer all of those costs onto the consumer. Where are the realities of the housing sector, mortgages that we are talking about right now?
Thank you, Mildred. My firm manages properties across the country. We have an office in Gulu, we have an office in Barra, in Jinja, in Mukono, in Kampala, and soon going to all these other new cities. And that has given me a very good ego view of what's really the reality of real estate in this country. But I think the question of investment versus returns is going to take a new twist. As the real estate players, developers, we need to rethink the models of real estate that we've been doing. And it's going to start right from top, from physical planning to urban planning, design approvals, and all. In one of our neighboring countries here in East Africa, a standard plot is 50 by 50. Our standard plot, Mildred, is still 50 by 100.
Yeah.
Now, that has an implication. If we are to achieve returns on investment, we are going to have to rethink what do we design, density. On 50 by 100 plot of land, what more can I do to get more? And that brings to me the topic of vertical construction. It must allow you to do more than you would do if you did horizontal units. And for me, I think it should be what we push for, right from urban planning level, at approval levels, at physical planning. The advice should be that we go vertical. That way, we are able. We
are going to start selling people air. You're buying from this distance to this distance.
Yes, but you see, Mildred, when I was in Mumbai the other day, there isn't any more land in Mumbai that people are buying rooftops of others to be able to put up a home. And it is coming. Reason, the population growth is increasing, urbanization is sprouting, and yet there is no more land being manufactured. What that means is that we need to think now, when we still have vacant land, not just in Kampala, but all over the country, to say, okay, let's rethink the design to make it more sustainable. Let's push for vertical construction. Let's push for density. We put as many units on land, provided all other amenities like drainage, spacing, safety are all put into consideration. That's how we can bridge the return question. Otherwise, the older models are not able to bring the returns. But we've seen newer models where even if you bought, he said, the 100 by 100 in Chanja at 300 million or 400, depending on how you design that plot of land, it can be able to give you the return that you desire to get in terms of how well do we rethink. That's why I'm calling on urban planners and physical planning to sit and say, we need to rethink what is a standard plot of land, how much can be put on a standard plot of land in order to curb the urban rapid urbanization and population growth.
But Wilberforce, you see, even when you're talking about density and vertical construction, look at the arcades and how empty they are. Look at many of these condominiums that haven't been bought and they haven't been taken up. And yet we are thinking about increasing or even changing the way we build. When is this bubble going to burst? Because I want to believe this is the biggest cry of many realtors, of many developers, that I have my arcade, I have 5 floors and only 2 have actually been taken. Or if I have to take up the other floors, I have to make them cheaper than the floors that are right below.
So still it's a design question. And COVID taught us something, the way we used to design arcades. Right now, you do not have to do shops all the way to the top. Because many people are working in the urban areas, we need to now start thinking of mixed-use development models. The same property can be a commercial, it can be office space on 2nd and 3rd floor, and it can be residential on the floors above 3rd floor. Because Ugandans are looking for accommodation that is near town where they work, but unfortunately all those are arcades. Meaning in what I'm advocating for as the new designs that are coming up, even on Kampala Road, people should be able to stay and work on the same building. Now that is going to take a redesign of how we think, how we design properties, how approvals are done, how urban planning is done. That where we used to do 5 floors of only arcade, let's do mixed-use developments. Can we have arcade on 1st and 2nd floor? Can we have offices on 3rd floor? Can we have residential units on the 4th and 5th floor? Because we've realized people want, it's now work-life integration.
Yeah.
How can I stay on the 5th floor, yet I also have a shop on the ground floor? I don't have transport costs. I don't have traffic jams to lose time. So let's rethink how we design real estate. We shall beat the returns question, but we shall also be able to give Ugandans more option. When you look at the furnished apartments, which has become a new model, we receive phone calls every day of people who are coming in and they're business people and they're saying, I want to stay near town, but not necessarily in a hotel. But all the buildings we have there are arcades. Now, let's rethink. I'm glad to see that on Kampala Road now, I've seen a building, a new building on Kampala Road that has done 3 levels of commercial arcade, and the top 2 levels are residential. That's beautiful, because then people will be able to stay and work in the same environment. Even if you got the costs you've been spending on transport and traffic jam, you now use it to pay higher rent, but you're staying where you're working from. And these models have worked in India, Singapore, and all the countries that have achieved that question of return and where do I work versus where do I stay.
All right, thank you very much. Harold, let's look at some of the risks or unintended consequences of these laws. Yes, you could be having cheaper credit or capital to be able to give up, but somewhere, you're building a sort of housing bubble that may be able to come through. Issues of increased household debt coming in for the people, issues of increased even housing prices and speculation, because we deal with a lot of speculation in this country.
Let me just give this perspective to answer your question. If all the cases that are in the High Court Commercial Division right now and in the High Court Land Division are solved as of today, you would flee almost close to 1 trillion Uganda shillings. So because of disputes and the indiscipline that we are talking about, you have money tied up. This money belongs to a developer. This money belongs to a bank somewhere. It belongs to a company that is in the real estate market. So the case backlog that we are talking about is sometimes also a reflection of the indiscipline in the market. And we use this example as lawyers that people in Uganda take debt in faith. Like you go to church, they will pump you up and then you think you can take a $200 million because of faith without doing the math, which is a wrong thing to do. And even the example that international financiers have faced with the Ugandan market, people not willing to pay, which is very simple. So the law comes in to cover that gap. Let me just borrow an example of what he was saying, but if he's talking about a building on Kampala Road and he's talking about levels and multi-use, which is a very perfect example, we do not have a law on the minimum standards of buildings in urban Kampala. Why are you building? Why are you building something with 300 units and then the parking spots are 7? Those guys, do they have bicycles? Do they come on borders? 2, there's no zoning in Uganda. In Kampala, actually.
But we have a law on construction. I am wondering.
Yes, that's why I'm getting to, because they've just done a law, in your introduction, on there's the National Building Review Board. It's there. You have added another law on planning and getting plans approved and etc. You've done that. There's the Physical Planning Act. But you still have constructions going on right now. In the middle of Kampala, even within the 5 divisions, there is no basement parking. They are too close to the road, and you're still talking about no zoning whatsoever.
Your tenants even have to pay for amenities like washrooms.
Yes, because that building that he's talking about on Kampala Road, for someone who has a law firm on the 2nd floor, he might have to look for parking around Watoto and then walk there. How are you helping the real estate market? Yes.
Can I?
Yes, please. You can come in just a bit.
So, we need to draw examples. The reason we came here is to see what is working on the international standard that will help us solve these problems. Internationally, Mildred, parking is a different investment.
Yes.
Parking should be paid for. parking, there are properties that are made as parking properties in the cities.
And we don't
in
have
the
them.
developed cities, and we don't have them.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is constructing in that model does not necessarily is not necessarily bad. But if we plan and say, okay, now let us repurpose some properties, or let us do new properties that are parking spaces, and then we go to our places.
Let me interrupt you a bit.
Yes.
You were earlier actually talking about how to be able to have cut costs, have user-friendly amenities.
Yes.
Why would I have to be walking on Kampala Road and then I have to look 2 kilometers far away to find parking at the end of the day?
Perfect. Now, in the bigger picture of replanning and redesigning the city, it should be in such a way that, like I told you, if we had enough mixed-use developments, and I stay in Wandegear, and I work at Kampala Road, honestly, if the transportation is sorted right and planned right, I don't need to drive from Wandegear to Kampala Road. All right? Now, that's the thinking, the redesign that needs to happen for the entire city. And even for the newly formed cities, this thinking can start now to say, how do we make transportation good enough, security and safety good enough, street lighting and pedestrian walkways and cycling walkways possible, so that we do not necessarily, all of us, have to drive into the city to get to work. Because what we are solving is bigger than just office space.
Okay, yes.
My point. I am privileged to represent 4 of the 10 biggest players in the condominium market in Uganda. One of the bigger issues that they face, I'll give an example of one. He wanted to do a mega project, and there's a partnership with Housing Finance for people to go get loans from Housing Finance to come and buy these condominiums with that specific client. But he got a specific piece of land in Bugolobi to do a project. Very beautiful, reflective of the market, but the issue is, around that property, there are over 21 bars. Which was formerly a residential, a residential area. When someone was buying flats in Bogolobi or building, that was the place then. We don't know at what point it switched to a commercial. We actually had residents in Kololo sue these bars on John Babiha, and they lost the case actually, because they said that the market had dictated that we move this from a residential and it was now a commercial place. A lacuna of zoning. A lacuna of lack of policy. One of the people that are actually getting out from the condominium are not going are not going to Kenya because of the prices, but are going to Kenya because of a corrupt system. It's something that we need to talk about, because if you need an approval, if you need, it's a lot.
Godfathers.
Yes, NBS approving a steel, and there's a lot that says the expense. If I look at the end of the project, how much I've spent, what has gone to facilitations is almost a bigger cost than me importing aluminium doors. And it's a stifle, it just frustrates the system. So when we're talking about the laws, it's just that we wait for a problem to come and then we design laws to solve it instead of planning ahead. One of the, I will use this as the last example. One of the biggest influences in the Nigerian real estate market was, I think, in the regime of San Abacha, when they said, let's shift to the capital and go to Abuja. What they did as the government was, if you buy a plot in Abuja and you have a plan, we shall finance it. Government can contribute this much. NSSF this year launched out a product, which is a very beautiful one, to say, because we have realized that the model we're using of constructing and selling low-cost housing to solve a housing problem and use the money of the pensioners in a right way. Mildred, if you go and get land in around maybe Kajansi, and you bring a plan to NSSF, they can finance the whole thing, so that you sell and then you get the money. They have solved the financing issue. Maybe they are competing with my brother on the extreme end, but they are trying to solve an issue. Just thinking outside the box and using the available laws to solve a problem instead of waiting for an emergency and then we are firefighting to solve a problem that is a little bit too late.
Thank you so much. Our time is really fast spent, but John, as we conclude, what more can government do? And this will be a cross-cutting one in just 30 seconds each. What more can government do as opposed to just simply having laws to to safeguard financing or to make financing easier, we still have issues that we've been talking about. Planning itself, urban planning is in tatters. So to think about parking, you had buses coming into the city, then they don't have where to park, then they don't have bus lanes. What more needs to be done than just solving the financing equation?
Thank you very much. Before I answer that question, I wanted to say something regarding what my brother was talking about, the return on investment for the investors. One thing that is very important is the promotion of green housing, the best practices. You see, it's evident that when you use those practices, you save about 20%. But if you look around in our country, we are still using the traditional methods to construct, whether horizontal or vertical. Those structures are damn expensive. Even if you go and check your home, look at the burglar proofing, look at all the things we are spending money on. It's a big expense, yet it doesn't really promote the environmental aspects as per the National Green Taxonomy. So as Housing Finance Bank, would like to be the biggest ambassadors of green housing, and there's a lot that we are going to undertake this year, working with different players, the developers, making it almost irresistible for you to opt for a greenhouse because it's more cost-friendly, even for the developers in the long term. You save minimum of 20%. There are many aspects in that space, lighting, energy, what kind of energy are you using? Is it clean energy or the traditional means, the materials? And if you recall, we started the Zimba Challenge last year. We believe Ugandans have brilliant ideas. Yes, that is going to be running on an annual basis to get the best ideas, nurture them, and see that they come to fruition. So the green housing aspect can significantly improve the return on investment for the developers. Then, in my perspective, what I believe the government should do is enforcement. We have so many laws, and they're very good laws. The gap is around the enforcement. My brother Harold talked about zoning. Zoning is very important. It's very important. If you look at, if we borrow a leaf from many economies that are doing so well in terms of real estate, that is a big thing. That's a big thing. There's no reason why I should be constructing a house and my neighborhood, 1 month down the road, has a bar. You see, it becomes a challenge. And even if you're trying to promote mass housing construction, those challenges discourage investments. I believe if we can firm up the framework for enforcement, that can take us miles.
All right, thank you very much. In just 30 seconds, that your clan members, Mwami Nsamba here, that you constructed a house, and then when they come, they find a condominium. And yet in our culture is Gurakapoloti, put your bungalow there, or whichever house, and then you have. The mindset change for me is the biggest conversation here.
Ugandans, as I conclude, we need to change the mindset. If we are to achieve affordable housing, low-cost housing, we need to change the mindset. If we are still thinking sleeping on 100 by 100 and 1 acre, it won't solve the housing problem that we have. Billionaires globally are sleeping in apartments because of consolidated benefit of expenses. You pay one figure to cater for your compound maintenance, garbage, security, etc. It's safer, you have a community that you belong to. So mindset shift is paramount if we are to solve the housing deficit.
Thank you.
Lastly, to government. We've brought the Mortgage Refinance Act, which I think is solving one of the bottlenecks of real estate development, which is financing. Now let's look at the other issues that have caused, that have been a bottleneck to real estate development. And those are the taxes. Let's have tax incentives for real estate development, especially low-cost and affordable housing sector. Let's give tax incentives to enable as many private sector players to develop as much real estate. Let's look at infrastructure development. One of the costs of real estate, Mildred, is that you have to buy land, service the roads, work on drainage, pull your own power and water nearest to your project. And this escalates the price of the final product on the market. So government, let us continue improving the infrastructure to every part of this country, thereby making the actual cost of the project cheaper to only focus on the core construction. Let's change the urban planning, zoning, and physical planning models that we use. Let's look at more innovative things that have happened in terms of density, vertical construction, and allowing for as innovative ideas in terms of construction. Most of the countries that have achieved affordable and low-cost housing is that they've accepted different building materials that are more eco-friendly and more affordable.
Thank you very much. Badija, you'll have the very final one on what more government can do and how we move forward with this away from just the policies but the actualization.
My parting shots are related to the government. We will not solve the housing problem without government participation. And if we are talking about the government participation, everyone in the private sector is there to make the money, is a shark to make the money and not to solve a problem. A government to come in and try to partner, whether it's private partnerships with government, whether it is to do housing or give lower financing interest, that can solve the housing problem. And we call on the government to just do the policy, the law, but also invest to make sure that this problem is solved.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for sparing your time to speak to this. This has been very insightful, and I hope that we are picking up lessons, not just for the people who are watching, but also for the government of Uganda. 3 laws, particularly that are coming into the Valuation Act of 2025. We've been talking about the Mortgage Refinancing Institutions Act of 2025. But remember, we also have the Construction Amendment Act of 2025 that are coming into play. We'll continue as NBS Television breaking down these for better understanding and how they will actually be applied in the market. That's all we had time for. I am Mildred Tohai. Say good morning and God bless you.
So, Mchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning Participating schools can win a school van?
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
With every splash of color comes a burst of joy. With every celebration comes a reason to smile together. Holi is a festival of happiness, friendship, and playful togetherness, where faces light up and hearts feel lighter. A day filled with color, music, and shared moments, celebrated by communities across the world. From festive vibe and cultural pride to music that feels like home, we invite everyone to join the Radio Wala Holi celebration. Send us your special Holi wishes and colorful messages and be part of the celebration. Call 0758 777 896 or 0774 290 800 for our special Holi advertisement packages. Celebrate the Festival of Colors with Radio Wala Uganda. Radio Wala, let's play.
Are you planning an event? Think of X Events. For the best photography and videography of all kinds, we believe that every moment is worth capturing. Whether Kwanjula, weddings, Kuhinjira, bringing out the culture and glamour. And of course, a professional team that has mastered the art of the game and Progear with elegance. X Events is located along Rubens Moments.
Thousands of plays, but nothing to show for it.
this ends now. Introducing Yugatunes, the new home of your favorite music on Afro Mobile. Listeners, stream your favorite songs ad-free at no cost. Artists, earn from every stream. Withdraw your royalties anytime from as low as 20,000 Uganda shillings. This is music that pays off. This is music that belongs to you. Yugatunes, your sound, your stage, your reward.
Tuna beni mutani wa mchala kayondo nanda kwa buwa minga kuba kagende wa chisi msajja kulaba chala kojawe Kampala nteredde ntende.
Kulokuna luno tugenda kubeera ne mwana mulenzi Bazira Tone ngali ne Suna Ben.
Tugenda kusalako program tusimbudde DJ Mutesa Pro mukunja tujjaawo.
Binyanya bigenda okukaaba.
Muku
kulokuna no kuba sawa.
Tujja program
tusimbudde no mwe muliisa bide abali waka muliisa bide.
So far off.
Warm welcome to a special discussion about inspiring the next generation of innovators. And on top of that, we're going to be talking about a very interesting technological museum. Now, joining me today to have this conversation are some team members from Hisense. We are joined by the group head of marketing as well as the marketing manager. Gentlemen, it is so great to have you both here this morning.
Thank you, Tracy, and good morning as well. Happy to be here.
Yes,
great to have you.
Viewers.
It's in Uganda, and this is a very interesting discussion for us today.
My name is Kakembo Ivan, the marketing manager, Hisense Uganda.
Great to have you both here this morning. So I understand that today we are talking about inspiring the next generation of innovators in Uganda, and Hisense has launched a museum. So break that down a bit more for me. Tell me about, firstly, why you're interested in the next generation of innovators, but then also how this museum came about and how the two are connected.
Tracy, thank you so much. Very interesting question. So, just for a bit of perspective, Hisense, Uganda is home to Hisense. Hisense has been in Uganda for almost 20 years. Very interested in the development of this country as well. And what I have to refer you to is the National Development Plan of Uganda. One of the key priorities is industrialization. Now, at the global perspective, we've moved from age of industrialization, there's automation, there's artificial intelligence. And now, as a country, towards industrialization, we have to make sure that how we're going to have the minds of Ugandans, how we're going to nurture Ugandans to be able to fit into that growing space. So the museum is coming at a time where we need to scale, we need to open up people's minds, we need to let people know what's happening, to spark curiosity. So I'm very excited for this discussion as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Perhaps you could tell us, Mr. Marketing Manager, you could tell us a bit more about the museum. What is at this museum? What can we expect from it?
All right, thank you. So the museum is a one-stop center for tech and innovation. So we believe that we have communities in Uganda that will do benefit from this. So what we do have in the museum is science stuff, tech. We have so much that they can explore, ranging from science and theory to how telescopes work, animation, everyday life for a typical Ugandan. And so we believe that the future generation will benefit from this because we have so much in store that they can look at and get inspiration. Because we look at the history, since we are makers of so many appliances, we give you the history of every other appliances that we do have. ranging from the TVs, the evolution of TV, like we are here at NBS TV, so to the refrigerators, how they do work, air conditioners, how they do filter the air and all that. So we believe that it will inspire the innovators and the young generation to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a great kind of evolution to watch from the first TV and now to Smart Life.
To the Smart Life.
Absolutely incredible. I think we can see here on the screen, you know, what to expect from this museum. I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So we often hear about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. And that's what you mentioned that you're trying to target with the skilling with this museum. So why would you say it's important for Uganda right now?
Right. Tracy, just take that up. Like I mentioned, science, technology, engineering, and math. We want students and children to walk into the museum. The most important bit is how do we create a spark of creativity for the children? How do we make sure they see these exhibits and connect theory and science, whatever is in the textbooks, to actual real-life solutions? So we believe that having these exhibits in the museum will spark the curiosity, will have people starting to think, okay, I think we can do this here. Can we actually do it better here? So we believe that we will open up the minds of young children as well and young Ugandans and the public as well to get into that space.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would like to throw the question to you as well. Why would you say STEM education in Uganda is important right now?
Of course, if you look at the evolution, on a global scale, there's so much happening in the world, and we do believe we need to target the most important aspects of schools and the subjects that they do have in their curriculum. And importantly, of course, science is part of that. And we do believe that if people come and experience that in our museum, they may be inspired, to do more and also improve, such aspects of the world in the country.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I wanted to ask about schools, because you both had mentioned schools. How do the schools benefit directly from this?
So schools will need to book. There's going to be a booking system. So schools and learners, of course, through their head teachers or any coordinators will be able to book these visits. And then on particular dates, they'll be coming in. So this is not just about walkthrough of this is the technology that Hisense has been building over the years. We want to make sure we connect the curriculum and science from whatever they're learning to practical solutions. If a child is able to see a TV or refrigerator system and how it works, or how convection works, how radiation works, they will be able to relate that into the real-life practical solutions. Tracy, as you can see, some of the exhibits have laws of physics. So imagine what that would do if a student in Senior 1, curious about physics, and they're connecting the theory of light to actual technology.
Absolutely. That's incredible. That's incredible. I'd like to throw the question to you about maybe the mechanics of it. When can the schools start booking for these tours? What kind of things are going to happen when they visit? Things like that. If you could just break that down for us.
All right. So for the museum, we've built a system that will take the bookings from the schools. So basically, it's going to start from second batch. That's when we shall let people make the bookings, schools, families, anyone, even individuals. So we have a system that will receive all those appointments, and then we shall be able to enter our system, and then they'll be able to get through very easily. It's just 1, 2, 3 steps. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So maybe you could tell us, why is this so important to Hisense?
So one of the things, like I mentioned, Tracy, Uganda is home to Hisense. So as citizens of this country, it's important for us to contribute to the social impact and community through education. So we believe that at this phase of the brand in Uganda, it's important because having the museum here will have an impact and contribution to the education system. Again, back to if a child walks into the museum, we're going to spark curiosity. They'll be able to merge theory and science to actual solutions. So we believe this is the best time for this to happen. And like I'd mentioned, the National Development Plan is very strong on industrialization. The next workforce is actually in school. So I want to make sure that they're going to fit into that space as we grow.
Absolutely. And I'd like to throw the question to you as well, if you could maybe expound on that and share some thoughts on why this is particularly important to Hisense at this time.
All right, so part of the mission, Hisense's mission is the young generation. And of course, we do have a lot of innovations that we've come up, and we target actually every age, okay, right from 15 years upwards. And we do believe these people are smart enough, and they're really curious about everything from how even, let me talk about schools. They really want to know how a basic mobile phone works, okay, how to browse the internet and all that. So color, which is inspiring because they do experience all this in their daily lives. So we believe we want to inspire them and also tickle their minds to think more and also improve what is already there.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, this is a museum. So, so of course, this is a museum. So there's a historical element to it.
Sure.
So why would you say it's important to reflect on that history? Why would you say it's important for the students to reflect that? So I want you both to answer that question, and we'll start here.
Okay, and thank you for that. Like any principle in life, it's important to understand the basics. Where did we start from? How have we evolved? Any principle in life. So, and even all the future technologies, even if it's artificial intelligence right now, they're always building blocks to how we get there. So it's important from the history of how the TV started working to how they've evolved. It's important because it enables learning and building onto that. People understand better when they understand the basics of how things started, where they are now, and where they're heading to.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so we really want to make history and the evolution of all these appliances accessible to students. And that's why it is really important for us to bring it here to our Ugandan community. So I know people do see all these tech stuff, but they really never get deeper to explain how really a basic chip is even built, you know, from whatever it comes from. So we believe that if we give people the history of every appliances in their homes that they do use on a daily basis, from a refrigerator to a TV and air conditioner, they will have a better understanding on how these things work and how to actually even improve them, because we're looking at the future generation and future innovations.
Absolutely, absolutely. And obviously we know that artificial intelligence is a major part of the way that we're living now. So how did you incorporate that into the museum with the smart life technologies and whatnot that Hisense is pretty much known for?
Okay. So like my colleague mentioned, so the start, if someone comes in for a tour, a guided tour, it starts from the history.
Yeah.
So there's a history section that covers, oh, this is how TVs were in the 1920s and this is their journey. Then we move to explain how they work. We move to the next exhibit goes to showing how artificial intelligence is now starting to get incorporated into things like image quality. You start seeing how artificial intelligence is starting to bridge into things like smart refrigerators. Can you have a smart home as well? So it's a full journey from history, functionality, current state, the new tech that's enabled for AI, for smart homes. So yes, it's a full journey in the museum,
Absolutely.
Yes, and you see, this museum inspires and actually tells a lot more what Hisense has been working on. Of course, now we realize the need for ecosystems, okay? And because of that, so when you get the history of everything and you look at the future of AI and how we've actually embedded AI into our products to build an ecosystem where you can easily interact with your refrigerator, with your washing machine, and any other home appliance at just the tap of your smartphone.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a beautiful journey for the children as well. Often they're just, you know, born into this. These are the technological experiences that we're having right now, but for them to also get to fully understand where we've come from and appreciate where we are and be the innovators of where we are going. So let's talk about the Hisense flagship showroom. Firstly, what does it have and what makes it so special?
All right, so the flagship showroom, as the name states, is the state-of-the-art center, experience center actually. So what it does have is gives you the real life experiences because it visualizes your everyday life. I mean, I'll give a real life scenario. We have a typical Ugandan entering a showroom and they're asking themselves, what would this smart fridge look like in my home? What would this smart interactive board look like in my office? And then so we have this all in one place. So all those questions we've been getting from our customers, all the feedback, we've got all that and put it in one place. So it gives you real life experiences and also hands-on. So when you get there, you'll see how a washing machine works and you have to operate it yourself, how a refrigerator works, and the entire range of Hisense. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So it's like you get to go there and fully experience what living with an entire Hisense ecosystem is like. Incredible, including the 116-inch screen.
116-inch, yes.
Amazing, amazing. Are you guys allowed to share what might be coming up, you know, for Hisense? Because you've already, you know, kind of beaten a record of having the largest screen ever in Africa. So what can we expect from Hisense moving forward?
Okay, so of course a lot is coming from Hisense in terms of global partnerships, first of all, but also in terms of technology. We'll be unveiling new systems as well. And glad that you are partners. You'll be the first to know when that is out.
Amazing, amazing. What would you have to say about that? What can we look forward to from Hisense?
What you can look forward to is more and more innovations of home appliances as well. And also, this is our great year because we have the biggest tournament, which is the World Cup.
World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to bring that experience also to Ugandans through our activations that we shall do. So they should look forward for that.
Amazing, amazing. So now regarding the museum, I understand schools can book through the system and then get guided tours, but for just like the regular person who would like to come through, how can they schedule a tour and maybe get to view the exhibition?
Okay, so the booking system that is going to be open, an individual can actually book a visit as well. So like my colleague mentioned, it's a very easy step, 3-step process. Select which date you're going to come through. Is it just you alone? Is it family? So it's going to be open to the public as well. So same system, individuals, schools, institutions, tour guides as well. Yeah.
Incredible. This is absolutely amazing. I love how, you know, Hisense is pioneering the future innovations, but at the same time appreciating the history of where we've come from and also sharing that with the students, especially so they can, their brains can be sparked and they can, you know, create the greatest innovations of the future. Thank you both so much for being here. It's been such an incredible conversation. I can't wait to come to the museum myself. Thank you so much for tuning into Breakfast Meeting. It's been such an insightful chat about technology, where we've been, where we're at, where we're going. Make sure to keep it locked onto NBS TV. My name is Tracy Ikopit. Until next time, God bless.
Kampala mornings, more like Kampala marathons. Why sweat in traffic when there is a better way to move? With Union, you're always one tap away from safe, affordable and convenient rides. Glide through the congestion like it's a VIP lane. Get there faster, safely at the best price in town. Download the Union Let's Go app today. Union, the better way to move.
Influence is more than followers, it's impact. At Next Influencer, we connect brands with the right voices through a thorough vetting and discovery process. We onboard influencers with hands-on workshops that build skills, unlock real opportunities, and fuel professional growth. Brands find the perfect match, influencers get dignified jobs, and audiences experience authentic stories. This is where influence becomes value. Next Influencer. Create, discover, connect, influence.
Uganda's ultimate TV dating show, Hello Mr. Right, is back only on StarTime's Makura Chika. Hello Mr. Right Season 3, where intentional guys face confident ladies.
I have a girl already, but I'm looking for another one.
Where charm, swag, and money meets beauty.
To give me 500 right now.
Confidence and nyash, all on one big stage. edge. Want to be part of the show? Visit StarTimes branches near you and register now. Auditions start on 20th February 2026 at StarTimes headquarters, Solis House, Lumumba Avenue. For details, call 0317 117 700 or 0200 117 700. Turn up your vibe for the only TV dating show in town. Hello, Mr. Right Season 3. Love, vibes, drama.
Kuma mwaka fana nyinga gwali eyo gwa wangu de mwaka mulamba
bulire sanyu linjo kubanga na wangu de school fees wo mwanange era nina sanyu okubanga sigenda sasula school fees
omwaka
mulambe era ne basajja ba MTN Momo katonda abongere omukisa.
As long as you pay school fees using Momo, you'll stand a chance to win school fees for a whole year. The school, you will stand a chance to win a school van. You can also get a school fees loan on Momo. The short code is *165*80# and you pay school fees and you win school fees for a year.
As the new moon is sighted, a blessed season begins. Ramadan is more than fasting, a journey of the heart, guided by faith, strengthened by community. From Suhoor to Iftar, Salam TV walks with you, uniting Ummah through inspiring teachings and